jumping in. We are just getting started here. Mulligans have already gone out. We are watching a top 8 match versus Bill.jr. as the Lion and Katai as the Crane. And it looks like we have a stoic, or not stoic Gunso. Just got done commentating a crab game this morning. It's all sticking with me. A Kodo Gunso coming out. Of course, that fills face up for Bill. Rega may be joining us in a second. He's booting up now.
Okay, followed by a Brash Samurai, another solid turn. I think we're going to see the Doji Challenger with 2.
Yeah, I can't imagine we don't here. Venerable Historian coming out on the side of the Lion. I think he's trying to get as much power in here as he can to try to see a Lion's Pride Brawler. Going first as the Lion and not seeing a Brawler on flop is extremely unfortunate in this matchup, as seeing one can basically bow the Challenger pretty easily and make her sort of inert for this opening turn.
Mm-hmm. So card draw is very important in this matchup. Both players have a lot of stats on the board. Do you think we're going to see high bids, or do you think we're going to see low bids? Because I noticed there's this Venerable Historian, and it would be much better if they can keep it honored.
Both players bid 5 almost certainly here, I think.
Yeah?
Yeah. Bill may take a more cautious route, but I think with this brand of Crane playing with the Dragon Splash, oh wow, I was dead wrong. Looks like Bill sniffed it out.
Could be, but yeah. All right, both bid 1. Yeah, he definitely wanted to keep his Venerable Historian online. Going to be a very valuable card, I think, against Crane and all their politics.
Yeah, I agree that that's an important thing here, but I also think that with this board, it's not the worst if you don't get Venerable Historian off. Like, even if you get 5 cards to Crane's 1, I guess a lot of your stuff is off for the future, so it's a safe bet. It just feels really bad for the Crane to bid 1 here, trying to keep that Venerable off.
Mm-hmm.
Because with the Dragon Splash, they definitely need the gas. And this switches to political because of Rally to the Cause. It feels bad, but this is actually one of the better times to hit it, just when you're probing.
Absolutely. And it's better than hitting a shameful display and getting that Doji Challenger honored right off the bat.
Yes, correct.
Interesting. Thinking about putting the Doji Challenger in, but I think, yeah, the Whisper is a much better choice here. Doji can swing in later on the turn and even use their ability to bring the Venerable Historian into a political fight.
Yeah, I think that's going to be a fine play. You don't need to defend with a lot here. It makes sense to defend either with the Whisperer or the Brash Samurai. Brash Samurai would turn on Voice of Honor a little early, just in case the line has any shenanigans, but this Doji Whisperer feels like a pretty safe play. We see a fan coming down onto the Gunso.
Interesting.
And
I would figure he would want to immediately do the box from the Crane on defense.
Whoops. Yeah, that is interesting. I wonder if he's saving it for when he goes on the offense. But that doesn't make sense, because when you go political offense, he's going to Venerable Historian and then immediately honor it.
Yeah. But it looks like, let's see, he has 2 glory. Yeah. So that's going to be a loss on the attack there. Brash Samurai is going to swing in probably militarily. It can't be defended by the Venerable Historian. And might as well take Watering, right?
I think you go Fire here just to keep Voice of Honor on. Just real quick, do you want to move down to a voice channel so Rega can join us?
Yeah, let's do that.
Okay.
I'll take your lead on here.
All right. All right, we are back.
Yep.
Just gonna message Rega.
Okay, Brash Samurai still thinking about what ring he wants to take here. Water will allow him to bow the Venerable Historian. Fire is going to give him Doji Challenger honor. And a 5/5 is nothing to scoff at.
Yeah, I think you go military water here. He's hovering that air ring, um, maybe thinking of trying to turn off a Venerable Historian, which is not a bad play either.
But he doesn't need it, right? Because Venerable Historian says you need to have more honor than your opponent. And by simply having this attack be undefended, he's getting that for free.
That's
Well,
true. Well, here we go.
except we get a charge. Honored General is such a great card to charge because he honors himself on it.
Yeah, it's very strong against Crane. Instantly, pretty much making this Voice of Honor extremely difficult to turn on.
And we see a Bonsai come out with the kicker, bringing his military strength all the way up to 8. Do you think you counter Bonsai if you have it here? Is it worth it? He's not breaking.
I
Or
don't
he is
think
breaking.
you don't
But
care if he breaks here. I don't think if since it's Art of War. If I'm playing Lion, I'm fine if he breaks here. It is
we do see the counter Bonsai.
It
Man,
is a
this
little
crazy.
sketchy. It is a little sketchy, just because with this tempo crane, it's going to be a race, and so going down a province early is extremely difficult. But there, even if I guess if he steals one, you still turn off Venerable, so you kind of have to win that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. So now we're back into pre-conflicts before the third one, and I can't imagine the Venerable Historian making an attack here because of the crane box. Unless he has a
Yeah,
second fan, but that's pretty unlikely.
yeah. I don't think we'll see Venerable Historian attack here. I think we'll leave him back on the defense.
Both players at 3 cards. No province is broken yet so far. Pretty uneventful turn. It looks like Bill will have 10 honor or 10 fate to the Crane's 8, but the Crane will have a Doji Challenger lasting into next turn.
Yeah, I think that feels fine for the Lion player. You can do a lot with 10 Fate. I gotta imagine he throws away the EG here
Absolutely.
and just tries to dig for a Lion's Pride Brawler.
So the Venerable Historian's going to come out. It's going to get up to 4 strength. You've got to think he's got a fan in hand to try and win this engagement.
He's got something. Probably a Steward, maybe? Nope. Oh, he's just gonna
route.
route. Yeah, so
Interesting.
this deck does run 2 routes and 2 outwits.
Mm-hmm.
So looks like we see the break come out. Bill.jr. is gonna draw 3 cards.
And 1 honor loss for undefended. Very interesting. I think both players will bid 1 again, or do you think it's time to start drawing cards?
It's gonna depend on the flop. If Bill.jr. doesn't see another Venerable Historian, I think both players will bid 5.
Yes, since the Venerable Historian
Yep.
is standing, they get the Imperial favor.
That is correct. We're gonna see it's gonna be, what is this? It's gonna be 12 to 11 in honor, just like the start of the game.
I think it's 11 to 11 because the pride on the Gunso.
You should. Oh, was it 10 to 10? Did he already gain
Yeah,
his
it's 10
honor?
to 10 because of the undefended.
Okay. Yeah, I didn't see that he had already gained it. Because yeah, it's up 2, down 1.
Yeah, so the boards are very close right now. The Crane player Katai has a Doji Challenger who's honored, which happens at the cost 3, and that basically makes up for the differential in fate. So a lot's going to come down to this flop right here.
That is not
bad.
really. It's not really what you want to see as the Lion player. You need more high impact stuff. The Spirit Caller is actually going to be pretty good on the Honor General.
Yeah, that was my immediate thought.
But everything else, your supporting cast there is extremely weak.
Yeah, the Obstinate Recruit is going to be is fine for now, but you have to be very careful about how this turn rolls out to not lose him immediately. And I don't think the Steadfast Samurai is going to get his 5 extra honor anytime soon.
No, but he gets off there. He gets out of your way. He's a 1/1 body on the board for 1.
Yeah, no fate investment, I think.
No, absolutely not.
No, we also see Hotaru and the Doji Gift Giver come out, as well as Kaizen. We'll probably see Kaizen with 2. I don't think, or with just 1. Interesting. Katai's going for a very aggressive build, or not build, but like strategy here, where he's only placing a single fate on his 3-cost cards instead of the typical 2.
He has a lot to play from hand that costs fate as well. Like I said, he runs the 2 routes and the 2 outwits. He runs Miyamoto's Fury. He runs Admit Defeat. I'm trying to think of what else costs money. He does run Noble Sacrifice, but I don't think we'll see that come out this turn.
Yeah, I don't think so.
And then Steward of Law. So he has a lot that can be played. We see 3 Fate here on the Spirit Caller. That's a big investment, but I think Bill can safely make it here given his Fate pools.
Yeah, absolutely. That's well worth it. And as you know, Spirit Caller is a 3-cost card, so it's outside of assassination range. You did mention Noble Sacrifice, so at the end of this turn, if you can get that Spirit Caller dishonored, I'd trade that Doji Challenger for Spirit Caller any day.
Yeah, so there's a line of play here where you go in with Doji Challenger on the Fire Ring and try to dishonor the Spirit Caller and then Noble Sack.
Mm-hmm. All right, so it's the Cranes. Are we still in bidding?
I think we just bid, so Crane should be going, because it's important to note, even if the Spirit Caller brings in the Honored General, he goes away at the end of the conflict, which means that he's not going to stick around to keep Voice of Honor, or to keep the Crane competing on honored characters for Voice of Honor.
Yep. All right, so what rank? Fire, there it is. Maybe we do see that.
Yeah, I think that if it's in his hand, that has to be your line of play here.
Yeah. That's a 6 fate investment on the 1 Spirit Caller. Yeah, that's I think pretty strong.
And you harpoon the Obstinate in here.
And you run into a Manicured Garden. Again, probably one of the better ones you could run into right now. The other ones are likely Meditations on the Tau. I imagine Ancestral Lands is on the box. And Shameful Display is also available.
Yeah, I think Katai is hitting pretty much everything he wants to right here. He's firing on all cylinders. And
what do you bring in here?
I don't know. You have to stop this from breaking, but you can't do that without Spirit Caller.
Yep.
And because anything you bring in is going to get bowed. So I think this is extremely Bill is in a very bad spot right here. He's just not seeing what he wants on flop.
Yeah, he does have 4 extra cards in hand, so maybe he's got something there he can work with. What would help? Miyamoto's Fury would be great.
Yeah, so Bill could see a Fury. He doesn't really have a way to turn on Route right now. He doesn't have a way to turn on a lot of his stuff here in political.
Yeah, interestingly enough, Bill has a very unique deck. I think all in all, he has something like he has 11 one-ofs.
Correct. Yeah, so they overlap a lot. He likes to have different things that are good in different situations that cover similar holes. And so, for instance, he runs 1 for Greater Glory, 1 Good Omen, and 1 Stand Your Ground, which he thinks are all ways to keep a character in play, instead of running just 3 for Greater Glory like a lot of other Lions will.
Mm-hmm. All right, so it looks like we have no defenders, and the first action was the Manicured Garden. Is that right, or am I missing this?
No, I think that's what we have. We're going to see the Spirit Caller bow to bring the Honor General in, almost certainly.
Mm-hmm. And that'll bring his political skill up to 4.
Oh, he's going to bring the EG in. That's a play right there.
Mm-hmm. And of course, EG will serve double duty. Not only is he a 3 political body, if you lose this conflict, you get to put think you get to put back the Stoic Gunso.
Yeah, he's gonna pull the Gunso back in if he loses this. If he has a court games, he could honor and make this a 6. So that's
Yeah,
not a bad play at all here.
I think you got to be worried about the noble sacrifice though from Katai. So you want to win this fight. Don't let that fire ring go off and dishonor the spirit caller. So Bill probably wants to invest at least 1 or 2 more cards. And we see a 4 shame.
Yep, which that also, for the time being, will turn off the noble sack play.
And it puts him 1 step ahead. We'll see if we see a counter court games. Nope.
Nope, just a fan.
That'll do, though. So I think at the end of this conflict, if nothing else, bring in the obstinate recruit with the challenger ability. No reason not to, right?
Yeah, there's no reason not to harpoon him in here.
Yeah, tough choice here for Bill. And I think we're seeing the passes come through. I'm not quite sure.
Yeah, I
Yep,
don't.
there it is.
Yeah, with the Doji Challenger no longer being honored, I think you don't invest a whole lot into that.
Yeah.
What's interesting is the Doji Challenger did not harpoon anybody.
Yeah, the timing on the harpoon can be a little challenging. After your opponent passes, you have to, or I guess after you pass, you have to be very certain that they're not going to pass, or you're going to lose your opportunity. And I think that's what we saw right here.
Yeah, I think with that, like I said, with that Challenger, whoops, what do we got going on here? Oh, bottom of the deck.
I think we're discussing the timing, whether the fire ring happens before or after the Stoic Gunso comes out.
EG would be first because it's when you lose. So you lose before the fire ring fires.
Gotcha. Yep.
So the EG and the Gunso would both be in play. Then the fire ring would fire, and then EG would go to the bottom of the deck during conflict resolution from the Spirit Caller.
Mm-hmm. Cool. And with the Doji Challenger dishonored, we see a pivot onto, oh, maybe not. He's definitely thinking hard about honoring Kazin.
I think that's the right play here from the Crane player. I don't play a ton of Crane. I play against a ton of Crane, and turning on Voice of Honor here, you have to at least pretend like you have it. Because if he dishonors here on the opponent, it says to me, I don't have it. You can do whatever you want.
But with 2 cards in hand, I'm not sure how much you really care about that, if it's the better play to go for the Noble Sacrifice later in this turn.
Yeah, 2 cards in hand, but you have to realize he did mulligan.
That's true.
And I feel like Crane likes to mulligan for some cancel.
Though Lion is probably the second hardest clan to do that against, the first being a Crane Mirror. Because with so many cards that auto-honor themselves, like the Stoic Gunso and the Honored General, I could see why Voice of Honor might be a little harder to play than normal.
Yeah, I think that's definitely a consideration here. I know as a Lion player, I don't have the hardest time keeping the Crane cancels offline.
You're looking really hard at EG. Okay. Yeah, I think we're still good so far. I don't think there's been any rules issues.
Nope. I think they just need to know that the Gunso is in play for the firing.
Mm-hmm. So after this is over with, I think it's time for Lion to do a classic 2, maybe 3-person, probably 2-person swing in here, leaving behind, I guess, the Steadfast Samurai to defend, and maybe go for a Water Ring, maybe bring back the Spirit Caller for a later political attack. I could also see Void coming down to try and take the last fate off of Kazin.
So Spirit Caller, even if you stand her, she's already used her action this turn.
That's true. But hey, 3 political strength is useful against Crane.
Yeah, the you could bring her in for a political attack if you wanted to, but I feel like you're best bet is if you go Water Ring and win it, is to bow the Narishma. Because otherwise you're getting almost for certain uh, a solo break here.
Gotcha. Yeah, so just to rewind here for a second, it looks like he elected to dishonor EG before he got sent to the bottom of the deck, which meant that he lost an honor for the dishonored character leaving, and now the Crane player Katai has more honor than Bill, and the obstinate recruit goes away.
Yep.
All in all, pretty solid play, I think, from Katai.
Yeah, I think that's a really good play. It's still, I guess that's why he didn't harpoon in, because anything he harpooned in would have potentially lost him the conflict there.
Mm-hmm. Okay, and this is a very reasonable line of play. Bill's going for a military Earth Ring, and the reason behind this is, of course, he is a seeker of Earth, and we have a Keeper Initiate sitting right there on his Dynasty.
Yeah, you're going to force a pretty decent defense here from the Crane, I think.
Right now, he's only going in with 3, but after the line box, it's going up to 5. So he's going to have to commit 2 characters if he really wants to win, and 1 to just try and stop the break.
Yeah, and I think if you're the Crane player, I think you have to think about defending with Kaizen here, and that way, if Bill decides to keep pumping, you can duel and throw it and go home.
Mm-hmm. Unfortunately, you got to be worried about after the box hits, then it's 3-3. Both players bid 1. But then you could just bid 2, and then you're forcing the Steadfast Samurai to go away with 2 extra military strength. So yeah, I think Kaizen defense is probably quite reasonable.
Yeah, it gives you some fallback. If they pump out of their mind, you go home. If they don't, then you send somebody home and you prevent a break. But it looks like he's content to just break here.
Ooh,
What?
I like that.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
Yeah, that'll do. And you get a Keeper Initiate for your trouble. As well as the Ring Effect. And that's going to bring Katai down to a single card in hand. And that goes to show you how good the Art of War is as a province.
Yeah, Art of War is fantastic. I like it a lot more than Crane's counterpart, the Art of Peace. And there we do see that noble sacrifice come
Yeah.
out.
We knew it was there. That firing was a bit of a tell. All right, so now we have the big counter swing on military. This is the 3rd conflict. Void's coming down probably to take out that Gunso.
Yeah, you have to. It's a 4-3 at this point. You need to get it off the board.
Though I could see an argument for that Spirit Collar. It's got 3 fate on it. I know it feels like it's not going to be gone for a long time, but the more you can put towards getting it removed, now that Noble Sacrifice is off the table, the better.
So the problem with Spirit Collar is next turn it's going to hit an Honor General, and then there's really nothing there for it to hit. It's going to pull out a Gunso again. But because those cards go to the bottom, every time you fire it, it loses value.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And he's going to run out of steam because right now, nothing's leaving the table. Though I guess there's technically an obstinate recruit that's supposed to be in there. I don't know if that got properly brought over.
I think it's in the wrong discard.
Yeah, slightly relevant for cards like EG and Spirit Collar, but I don't think it'll come up. Okay. There was a defense there. Sword went down, stopped the break, and there we have it. I think that's the end of turn 2.
Yeah, so that's an extremely fortunate turn for Bill. Getting out of that turn without another break, getting even with Crane, and then getting first player marker back. I think that's an extremely strong play. We do see the Gunso go away, putting Bill back in charge of honor.
Mm-hmm. And 1 province break to run province break. Slight advantage towards Lion, I think, at this point.
Yeah, I don't know if I love... I guess Crane needs a lot of characters. That Hataru throwaway feels a little weird to me.
Mm-hmm. Like a double Water Ring wouldn't be awful. I guess he's 2nd player, though, so
Yeah, that's the hard part is going second, and we see a extremely uh, good flop for Bill.jr.
That's terrifying.
Yeah, so the Bayona's not going to be able to get off right now, but if he can play this, he can get this um, and put one or two Fate on her and then get Taturi out. Since Lion doesn't run a ton of cards that actually cost money, and then pass
Mhm.
first, since he knows Crane is looking to flood the board since they threw away Hataru.
Yep. Uh, This, I think, is going to be a hard turn for Crane to make it out of without losing at least one province.
3 on the Lion's Pride Brawler. I don't love that line of play here.
Yeah, 'cause
Unless you have a charge in hand, but we know that Bill's blown his only for Greater Glory. And,
yeah, this seems a little like a bit of an overcommitment. I don't think the game's going to last that long.
no, and so this is where I run 3 for Greater Glories, and every single Lion player tells me that I'm incorrect, that that's at least one too many. But this is where if I'm Bill and I have a charge in hand, I draw 5 here. And
Yeah, honor is
charge,
not going to be too big of a trouble and just
yeah,
crush some provinces.
yeah, and try to get that charge and use the for Greater Glory. Because if you can, it does get scary here with the Savvy Politician and Voice of Honor on the charge or the For Greater Glory. So that's a consideration because you can Spirit Caller to bring the Honor General in, which turns Voice of Honor off before the charge.
Hmm.
But if Katai has Way of the Crane, then Voice of Honor is going to go right back on.
Yeah, and Toturi would have been a really strong card here, and it's sitting on a broken province, so we have to have some hope that he's got a trick.
It's not the worst decision from Bill. I don't think there's validity in it because if it goes to the discard, Spirit Caller is going to bring him right out.
That's fair.
Looks like
Oh,
he's just going to
jeez.
pay for it. So
Yeah,
so
who needs fate?
so he's going to use it this turn, use Spirit Caller to bring out the Honor General and have a monster turn, and then next turn he's going to Spirit Caller out the Taturi again.
It's looking like he's trying to close out this game on turn 4.
Yeah, so I think that's a fine line of play. You're going to get 2 turns out of Taturi just for the 5 and with what you have on the board.
Yep, and it looks like Katai has to try as much as he can to just fill up his own board. And it is worth noting that Bill got a second keeper, so I think we're going to have an Earth Ring pop up at least once round. Oh my
5 to
gosh.
1.
Yeah, I was expecting a 5-5, but
Yeah,
there we go.
I think Bill should have bid more there. He's being really stingy. There's no reason to be stingy anymore. None of your cards are really proccing off honor. I guess this is a pain that Steadfast Samurai is going to stick around, but that's not worth bidding around.
Oh, that's why.
Okay.
We see. So we're really seeing the
Okay.
power of the many, many one-ofs that if you get them in the right combination, they can really pay off.
Yeah, so he just gets that good omen out before Way of the Crane can come down on Savvy Politician.
Hmm.
I still think it was an extremely safe play, but I still think you bid 3 there with the good omen in hand.
Yeah.
All right, so this is going to be a brutal water ring here coming out from Bill. Military, Taturi's going to go in. This is one of my favorite things to do as Lion, because if you send Taturi and the Lion's Pride Brawler in, you're going to get a bow, this Guest of Honor, and then water ring the other 2 characters.
Yeah, whichever is not involved in this conflict.
Yeah, it puts them in a very tight bind.
Yeah. So what's Crane's out here? Crane is
Crane-
splashing Dragon.
Crane
so
needs this to be,
Amirach's
yep,
Fury.
Shameful Display. That's what they
Okay,
needed right there.
There we go.
They need Shameful Display. They need a Miyamoto's Fury, but they also could, if they send in this Savvy Politician feels weird here. You can send in a Guest of Honor and outwit
An
the
honor?
Taturi. Outwit the Taturi after you Shameful Display. You're gonna get bowed. I think this would break anyway. I don't know what the best line is here.
Yeah, I think you got it. Again, this is a race game. Both of these clans are very strong at breaking provinces. I think he's got to just try and prevent the break. No, but then he loses his board. Yeah, this is tough.
Yeah, there's no good answer here. It's just it depends on what's in his hand and what he thinks he can do if he actually saves his board here.
Okay, so another line here is to potentially dishonor the Lion's Pride Brawler instead to try and prevent it from bowing many of the characters, but
It's
it
gonna
only
bow
brings
Guest
it
of
down to
Honor no
two.
matter what.
Yeah.
It's gonna bow Guest of Honor no matter what. So you turn Taturi into a 3-0.
Yeah. I think 3 glory there is too much to pass up. Both players at 5 cards, only 1 bonsai each. Yeah, I think we're going to see some significant investment from both players. Unfortunately for Bill, his box is going to be slightly more relevant.
Yeah, slightly more relevant. I mean,
It's going to be relevant.
Toshi is not relevant at all. So, yeah, so we'll see. I think we'll see both players invest. This is where I think Bill is going to wish he hadn't been so safe on his bid and had kind of smelled that Katai probably wasn't going to care too much about staying with him in honor, given his flop.
Yep. So we see the Lion's Pride Brawler come down, and he's also still got that box, which is going to make him 8-8 and still win this fight.
And if everything goes south, yeah, he can honor general here.
So he wants the break. This is what that tells me.
Yeah, I wonder if we'll see that second noble sack. Any chance he's drawn it?
Oh, it could be it.
Nope, Miyamoto's Fury.
On the general.
Yep, but he's still going to give the... Oh, ready for battle. Crane's worst nightmare.
Okay, and that's a reaction, so it goes back now to Bill. Yep. Breaking, still has not used his box yet. Might as well. You only have the one opportunity a turn to do it anyway. Yeah, 16-8. That's going to be tough. And I don't think there's much else you can do about this as Crane.
No, you have to duel, but because you dishonored the Taturi, I guess Taturi's at 4 now because of box, or 5 because of general. Yeah, you duel here and go home as Kaizen.
Yeah, but then you get bowed by the water ring. So...
Yeah, it's all bad.
There's no good choices. You could duel and bid 5 if you're really feeling bold, but I wouldn't recommend it.
No, that seems... Well, I mean, you're going to get 3 honor back at the end of the turn.
But going down to 3, potentially 2, is a risky proposition. But hey, you got to do what you got to do sometimes.
Yep, looks like he's doing it.
Yeah, it's all 5s, right? Except for the honor general, who's a 6.
Correct. Yeah, so chat is saying fallen in battle. There's no reason to fall in battle here. These things are going to leave play anyway. Save the fate.
Yeah, I think you choose Toturi, and then you both bid 1 if he wins. Actually, this is kind of... this is a tough choice. I might bid 2 as Crane here. Yeah, I think 2 is the correct bid for Crane.
It's going to be... No. Well, because you still lose it 2. You're just giving up a free fate.
He's at 5. Kaizen's at 5.
Yeah, well, Kaizen's honored, yeah. So Kaizen is at 5, yeah. Okay, yeah, this is a much better duel than I thought it was. I forgot about that honor. I was like, they have to bid so much to even... Like, Lion can stave this off for almost nothing.
Yeah. So this is the weird situation where everyone uses Kaizen's ability to just go home. This might be a good situation to actually use his ability to the effect. And he does!
Yep, there you go.
Everyone's going home except Toturi. And he goes down to 4. So this went from a crushing to a defeat.
Yeah. So we could see a Way of the Lion here, which is +6.
And the bonsai.
Yep.
Definitely spin the kicker. There's no reason not to. We'll see if Voice of Honor comes down. I'd probably stop that. That seems fair. But no Voice of Honor in hand, potentially. Or else it would have gotten played right there.
So that stops the break.
It's probably fine if the break doesn't happen here. You're still bowing the entire board. Three cards to three cards.
Yeah, what's interesting, I don't know why he did not choose the general to duel.
Yeah,
Because
that was a bit of a mistake. I
yeah,
think,
you don't need the ring here, and general's going back to the bottom of the deck because he's spirit collared. So having him go home does nothing for you. Whereas having, I guess, Taturi going home doesn't do a whole lot for you either, since you can't make another military attack.
yeah, he selected. Yeah, I think he just forgot about the positive side of Kazen's duel, which is easy to do because it doesn't come up that often when you're on defense and outnumbered. But the crane is bowed, and I think we're going to get a political break on that shameful display. Might as well bring everybody. And he goes for air to continue to honor pressure. I think I prefer earth here.
Yeah, I agree with that. Get your other Keeper Initiate into play. Continue
Void.
this card pressure. I don't really care about Void here. Guest of Honor, Guest of Honor, like she sucks, but also she really is fantastic at closing out games. Getting her back into, like to do a single break, just feels okay with her.
Okay, so this break is less likely now. We see the crane box bow the Lion's Pride Brawler. And I can't imagine why you would try to go for the dishonor strategy here, especially when there's 3 honored characters on the crane side that are about to go away. But we see it happen.
Oh, looks like he's just trying to honor himself out.
Yeah, that's interesting to me.
Yeah, I like
Not sure I would do that, but
Yeah, I like the card pressure a little more, or the board pressure with Void. I think I like the card pressure the most because because you do have the Keeper Initiate that could have come out there. I'm guessing we'll see Bill keep this Bayona here because you have a ton of fate. She's going to come out with 2 fate on her.
Yeah. But can I talk about this for a second? Bill has 18 honor. Katai has 6. And he's up 1 province. I guess it's 1 province to 1 province. So it looks like he's trying to go for all 3 victory conditions at the same time. And I'm not sure he needs to. I think he could focus on one and possibly the second dishonor one. And he'd just be in a lot stronger of a position.
Yeah, but I think so. I think he's just creating like immense pressure. Like Katai can't just bid thinking about how low he'll go. He has to think about how much it'll up Bill because now also Katai has to think about going air ring first attack, or else he's gonna get Taturi. That's 4. That puts him to 22.
That's true. And you could probably get some more honoring this turn as well. There's a Spirit Caller and potentially a Gunso still in the pile, or did that get used up? Yeah, I think there's still
Gunso, yeah.
Yeah, Gunso got brought in with EG, but is still there for the use of the Spirit Caller. So that's another potential honor right there.
Yep.
And I think you're going to see a lot of staging ground going on this turn and hope for more Gunsos, Honorable Generals, etc.
Yeah, Bill's definitely not passing first this turn.
Yeah, he has a lot of fate here. Okay, and we see the pass from the crane, staging ground come out, and the third keeper flops. That's nice to see. A second immortal steadfast samurai. And I think that's it.
Yeah, so that's getting a pretty big board here for Bill.
It's a scary board. 1-1.
Yeah. Bill has to keep this pressure up. He does not need the cards to win conflicts at this point. Especially with the guest of honor on the board, where his cards are going to be not super playable.
So, does Katai do a probing attack with the guest of honor?
He does something here with the air ring, I believe. It starts to get way too sketchy if Bill can double proc that to go to 22.
Mm-hmm. You could also double fire if the air gets taken, honoring, I guess, 2 characters. It's
Or
a little slower, but also maybe gives you a little bit next turn.
Yeah, I don't know.
It's a weaker line of play, though. It does have a fade on it, so that's somewhat relevant.
An Honored
Bill is
Bayona
sitting at 5.
An Honored Bayona is a monster.
Yeah. She's 1 glory.
As much
2
as
glory.
I don't love that card, I'll give her that. A 5/4 that you got out with 2 fate for 3. That's pretty good value.
Yeah. I'd take that. That sounds decent.
You also, water is interesting here to bow the Taturi. But everything you do just feels bad here as the crane player.
Yeah. Because I don't think you can really win a fight other than a political one, and then you're shot for the rest of the turn. And you have 2 more provinces, probably a meditations and a manicured garden on the crane side. So you're not going to get any more benefit from the shameful display. Yeah. Rough spot for crane.
Yeah, we'll see what he chooses to do. I think the Earth Ring is valid here.
But the downside is if you lose that ring, 3 keepers come out and a bonus fate.
The bonus fate's not a huge deal. Bill has all the money in the world. His cards don't cost anything. He's going to play everything that comes out on his flop every turn for the rest of the game.
Yep. Such is the way of the lion.
Yeah, so I think what Bill's looking at is, so if Katai lets him get this air here, then he'll still have the Spirit Collar around next turn unless Katai goes Void and somehow wins it, which will let him bring Taturi in again for another air conflict first turn next round and just win the game.
Yeah. Provinces, again, 1-1. It's going to take a little while. I think Honor is going to be a little faster. Might as well go for it.
Yeah, this is interesting. We're seeing Lion do something that they do super well that I don't think we've really seen this tournament. Is they just put on every single prong of pressure. They have the board. You're at 6 honor. They're at 18 honor. If either of these bowls goes in the direction they've been going, the game starts to get extremely untenable. If the board doesn't level out, the game's untenable.
Mm-hmm.
And this is the situation Lion can put you in if you're not careful.
I think Manicured Garden's the correct choice here. As you mentioned earlier, Fate's not a huge deal right now. Lion's going to be able to bring out anything they want. So this is basically a blink, and it's way better than hitting a shameful display.
I mean, this just the Bayona's just gonna get bowed unless he can honor it, which he can't because he does card from hand. So there's no way he wins this. So I'm not sure why he's committing so much to it.
I think I might have just put in a single Steadfast Samurai. But there's the bow. Spirit Collar. Really? For a Historian? Seems fair.
Yep. So he baited the Bayona.
Yeah.
That's pretty pretty sly.
Yeah, that is clever. Though I think there's a pretty good chance he would have done it if it was just a steadfast and went for the break. Oh,
So
outwit.
Outwit's gonna send that home. Yep, it looks like he's gonna get rid of that Spirit Caller to stop the Taturi next turn.
Yep. Okay. That's actually a pretty good attack. Bowing 4 of the Lion's cards for 1 guest of honor is a decent trade. Still a lot to contend with, though.
Yeah, I think that was a little bit of an overcommit on Bill's part. Because
This is interesting.
now, yeah, you're just gonna eat a snapback. This feels good to hit after the Void Ring's off. Because losing
Yeah.
your Lion's Pride Brawler this turn is brutal.
Mm-hmm. So this looks a little weird, but again, there are 3 keepers available to Bill. So after erasing what is left in Katai's hand, he can still be around for another political attack later in the turn, or at least defend if not everything gets brought in. It's 10. I think I'm not too worried about losing provinces here as Katai. I might be willing to let this go with just Narishima or not even defending at all.
Yeah, well, the problem is if you defend this, the other guy's gonna get bowed
By the brawler.
by the Brawler. So you either defend all of this and somehow stop the ring from getting claimed, or you just let it go.
Yeah, but putting in both seems like a risky proposition as well, since after the box, it's going to be a 13 strength military attack.
Yeah, I think you
Um,
just let this go, but 100% you don't just defend with one.
Yeah, you also have to worry about a fallen in battle, killing Kazan.
Yeah,
It's
you do.
basically a free void ring, but it could be relevant next turn.
Yeah, we'll see here. We could see a Miyamoto's Fury come out on the side of Katai.
Yeah, it wouldn't work on Toturi. It would be effective against the brawler.
Yeah.
I still think there's going to be enough to break, though.
Yeah, I agree. I think no defense here. I mean, Bill's already shown he cares more about his honorable than yours. Going down to 5 doesn't really do anything to you here. So I think you just let this one go through. It's getting broken no matter what you do.
Yep.
'Cause he's going to 13 off the box.
I mean, it's just a tough thing to see, right? And I think you have to realize at this point, late in the game, Lion's going to take a province on military attack each turn, and there's not too much you can do about it.
Yeah, once the rally gets out of the way, pretty much in this matchup, Lion should take a province for every military. Crane should take a province for every political. And if either one can stop the other one from doing that, then they're going to win the game. And right now, Bill is the only one who's stopping Katai from breaking on political.
Yep. We see the Lion's Pride Brawler come down. Don't even need the box, and I think both players will pass. Okay. 3 keepers drop. Crane is 2 assassinates down. Oh, wait, sorry.
Nope, just
Assassinate
one in
and
a
a court games.
game.
Ooh. Court games is a pretty solid hit. Okay, and we know that last province is likely Manicured Garden. 4 strength, and as it so happens, Bill has 4 strength left in keepers.
Yeah, that's going to be a pretty good hit here.
Not sure why Guest of Honor and Nurshima are going away. Oh, they're back.
I think he was cleaning up already because Bill had no characters in play. And turns out Bill has 3 characters in play.
Yeah, definitely don't go to Shameful. Shameful's a mistake here.
No.
Well,
hit the
it doesn't matter.
Yeah, it matters.
Well, he has to honor one of them and dishonor one of them.
I guess that's true. So he ends up plussing.
Yeah. Yep. 4 strength, Manicured Garden, take a fate. You got 1 card. And And then the largest military strength I think we've seen this tournament is going to come down onto the province of the stronghold. Oh, Steward of Law. Not going to be enough, though. And with no cards in hand, that's the rest of the tricks. And that'll be the end of round 4. And Bayona gets honored. Why not? So, it's hard to see a way out for Crane right now. I think it's...
Yeah, Bill is going to be a 14 fate, so he's going to get 5 cards in here. Almost certainly.
Yeah, I don't think you need the... yeah, getting +7 from the box seems like a good play. And it's going to be even more after the staging ground. He goes up to 14 fate. So what's the number you think? What's your guess?
How high? How big is he going to get?
Oh,
He's going to get huge.
Is an honored general.
Yeah, he's breaking 40.
50? I'm going to call it. What's the over under 50? I'm going to ask chat. All right, chat. Is it over or under 50? Oh, it's got to be over, right?
He has like 35 just from the honor general in the box and what's on the board with no pump from hand.
We see a Doji Challenger with 1 fate investment. Why not? And a Rash Samurai with 1 as well. Go for it. Ah, chat thinks under 50. The dream's alive,
that's it.
though.
No, that's it. That second honor general is going to push it over.
Yeah. Haha. Gotcha, chat.
I think we're going over. You bid 5 here. Oh,
yeah.
Yeah. Bill doesn't even care. Bad
5's
manners.
all around.
Yeah.
Why not? What? No, you bid 5. You both get to keep your honor. Not that it's going to help Katai here too much, I'm afraid. Yeah, so this is the game Lion wants to see. 10 characters on the board, 11 characters even.
Yeah, we're going to see a lot.
So that's 31 from honored generals and just the box, let alone actual stats on the honored generals.
Yeah, well, and actual stats on everything else. Because Bayona's at 5, both honor generals are at 5, so that puts us at 46 before we count the brawlers, which put us at 52.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, goes for air. Why not? And let's see if we play this through. This feels a little like a little much. Yeah, there we go.
And the favor.
So on the favor. Yep. 1, 4. Yeah, I think that's 60. I count 60. After the box, that is. And I think that's GG. All right. That was quite the game.
Yeah, that's one way to end it.
So where did it all go wrong for the Crane?
When Bill got into a Taturi and was able to put a fate on him through the Good Omen.
Yep, that was big. The Spirit Caller early, the Honored Generals coming out at the right time.
Yeah, that Spirit Caller did a lot of work there too.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I'm sorry. I'm just kind of at a loss for words for this 60 strength attack. Yeah, good stuff.
Yeah, that was. I think Bill was on his back foot going into turn 3, and being able to get the Lion's Pride Brawler and the Taturi in there just shows you how quickly Lion can just flip the game through board control.
I'll throw out a GG. Yep. Noble Sacrifice, Voice of Honor, Steward. Not too much there to work with.
No, we see a charge. Not that he had anything to hit, but then Way of the Lion, ready for battle. And a 4 shame.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, GG's to both players. I do think, kind of in closing comments, that this brand of Crane has a harder time with Lion than the Scorpion Splash counterpart does.
Oh, absolutely. The Dragon gives you a couple of let goes, but without Sashimoto, there's really no high value card to get rid of. And the Miramoto's Furies are nice, but Lion's going to beat you with numbers, and Miramoto's Fury, after all, is only a single character.
Yeah, and they have run 3 ready for battles. And so
oh yeah, forgot about that minor card.
Yeah, so they just stand right away. So Miramoto's Fury is really lackluster against Lion. I think that we see those same things why Dragon has a tough time with Lion sometimes, just because it's all about the numbers, and Dragon does not have numbers.
Yep.
So with Crane, you can kind of get numbers, but we saw Katai just not getting the cards he needed. I think those low bids early kind of to keep the historian and things like that offline really hurt Katai.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Crane really wants to draw a lot of cards because it's the cards that give you honor, and honor is what allows you to keep drawing cards. What I mean by that is, of course, Voice of Honor, not Voice of Honor, but Court Games and Way of the Crane. And the more of those you can draw, the more cards you can draw later, and you can kind of just keep snowballing. And if you're forced to bid 1 each turn because you're scared of losing honor and dishonoring, or giving too much to the Lion player and having them win via honor is bad. It's a tough situation no matter what.
Yeah, I think that's like I said, I was thinking 5 bids from both players at the beginning, and they both bid 1. And I think the second you do that as Crane, you're just playing Lion's game, and you're going to lose Lion's game every time.
Yep. So a note on, I guess, the tournament itself. Bill is going to advance to the top 4, and earlier today we saw Chutrev also make it to the top 4, and they will be facing off. It's another Crane Dragon, something that it looks like Bill did not have too much trouble with. So I think we might see Bill in the finals if everything goes as planned.
Yeah, that'll be another good matchup to watch. Just because, like I said, I think Lion has a much better time with that brand of Crane than it does with the Scorpion Splash from Crane. And Bill is obviously a very strong player. He does not make a lot of mistakes. At worst, he can be slightly suboptimal at times, but he's never making glaring play mistakes, or very rarely making glaring play mistakes. Mm-hmm. And those two things will win it for you a lot of times, kind of when push comes to shove.
Yeah, especially when you have a slight advantage, I think, in this matchup. As long as you just play well, you can leverage that into a win.
Yeah, I agree. I think this one is Lions to take. Crane needs a really monstrous start to out-tempo Lion in this, and they need to be up. They need to be attacking Stronghold turn 3 or 4, not trying to break a manicured guard still.
Yeah. Yeah. Cool. I think that's all I've got to say.
That is all I have. Thanks for tuning in, guys. Thanks for casting with me on short notice, Void.
Absolutely. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, no problem. Have a good night, guys.